Hi, now I do have the sample application deployed with the default destination rules. Let's go ahead and access the application using the port that we had generated. So this is the ingress port that we had and the IP address. I'm going to use the external IP address and access it within the web page. Since I do have access to that specific port, basically I do have access to all the ports. So I should be in a position to access it. /product page will take me to the product page. I'm accessing the page. This time it's not having any review. That means it landed with version 1. Let me access it once again. Now I do have black color star. Let me access it once again. Now I landed in version 2 because I do have red color stars. The reason because the destination rule when we initially created, I am allowing the traffic equally getting distributed across all these three subsets, that is three versions, version 1, version 2 and version 3. So the traffic is getting distributed across all the three subsets, that is three version of review. Let me go ahead and access the same page n number of times and generate enough traffic. Before that, I am going to access the Jaeger and Kiali UI and check the details about the application. Let me get into the Kiali UI. So I do have 4 applications. Let me get into the application. So these are all the applications that got deployed. I can get into the graph and see the details. Here this is going to give even much better clarity where I do have access to this particular version 1, and that is accessing the detail page. Details page is having one subset, and version 1 of product page is accessing the reviews having 3 subset. Version 1 of the review is not going to get the ratings, so I do not have call to the ratings, and version 2 is going to call the ratings, and version 3 also going to call the ratings. So I do have the connection block over here. And here I do have the virtual service where I have configured all the requests landing up with the product page where to get routed. I do have configuration for the virtual page over here. So this is the configuration for the virtual service. I can check what is the configuration for the virtual service, that is book info, and I can get into that particular virtual service. And these are the route details, that is product page, static, login, logout, all that get routed through this particular product page. And the corresponding YAML also I can get it from this particular Kiali UI. Now I am interested in this particular area, that is traffic animation, where I wanted to get the traffic, how it is getting routed through this particular application. I wanted to get for the last 1 minute, and every 10 seconds this particular screen should get refreshed. Let me go ahead and generate the traffic now. I'm going to execute this particular URL product page 100 times using this particular for loop sequence. So this is going to generate 100 requests. Now let me access the web UI. Now I will be in a position to see the traffic getting shifted. So through the ingress, I am getting into the traffic is getting into the details as well as to the reviews, and the traffic is getting distributed between these 3 subsets. In case if I wanted to get the percentage of the traffic, I can enable the traffic percentage. Here I should be in a position to get the traffic percentage as well. You can see the traffic is getting distributed equally across all the 3 subsets of the review. Since I selected the last 1 minute and no further request happened, the animation is not happening. Generally people used to make the mistake of not selecting the enough time frame, and they will not be in a position to see the traffic how it is happening. So make sure you select the right time frame and the refresh rate. Now we are going to see the very interesting part of changing the destination rules within the virtual service. Let me go ahead and make the change. Before making the change, let's review the YAML file. This is the YAML file that I'm going to execute. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to route all the requests to the version 1 of the rating. So basically I'm going to route all the traffic to the version 1 subset only. So I'm not making any change to the existing application. All I am going to do is change the virtual service. Let me go ahead and apply. So the virtual service destination rules got changed, and it's going to send only to the version 1, and we do have multiple version only for the ratings. Now let me go ahead and access the web page. I'm not getting any reviews. That means it landed in version 1. Let me access it once again. One more time. So any number of time I'm going to access the request, it's landing in version 1 only. I can test this using the curl command. Let me go ahead and generate 100 requests to the product page using curl. Now let me access the Kiali web UI and see the traffic, how it is getting generated. So I'm going to change it for the last 1 minute. You can very clearly see all the request that's coming into this particular review is landing in version 1 only. So this is the biggest advantage of Istio, where I have configured the destination rules to land the traffic only in version 1 dynamically. So what's going to happen architecturally? Any change that I'm making using the YAML file, the control plane will trigger the event saying there are some changes happened, and the pilot going to send those changes to all the envoy that got registered along with that particular pod. So the pod that is running in the product page will take care of not to send the traffic to the version 1 and version 3. It will route the traffic only to version 1. This is where the role of pilot comes into picture, where it is going to make sure all the configurations are deployed into all the sidecar of all the pods, as well as into the ingress controller when I am changing the gateway rules. So we learned about how to route the traffic only to a specific subset. Now let's go ahead and do another change where I'm going to route 50% of the requests to the version 2 and another 50% to the version 1. We will do that by changing the YAML file, by making the change to the service. So this is the YAML file that I'm going to apply. So in this particular case, I am going to change the virtual service of reviews, where I am going to have the route destination for reviews into the subset version 1, where it will have weightage of 50%, and another destination to the reviews of version 3, where it will have weightage of 50%. Let me go ahead and apply this particular YAML file. And whenever you are applying this particular change, you may have to wait for few minutes, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, so that the pilot should trigger the configuration change and get that deployed into all the proxy. Now let me go ahead and generate 100 requests, access that through the web UI. It's going to refresh every 10 seconds. Now I should be in a position to see the traffic coming into product page. Yes, it's coming into the product page and it is getting routed to version 1 and version 3 only. It should get equally distributed. So over a period of time, when I am having more number of requests, automatically it should get distributed in 50-50% ratio. Let me go ahead and refresh that once again. I can access that using the web UI and verify I landed in version 3. I'm accessing it once again. No reviews. So version 1, no reviews, version 1 and into version 3 now. Now I'm going to make another change. Let me route all the requests to a specific version, that is version 3 only. So I'm going to change the destination to version 3 only. Let me go ahead and apply this particular YAML file. Let me generate 100 requests and I can check the web UI. Let me go ahead and refresh this particular page. I landed with the red color star. One more time. So a number of time I refreshed and I always landed with the version 1, and here also I am able to confirm I am always landing in version 3 only. So all the 100% of the traffic is getting routed to the version 3. This is the biggest advantage of using the Kiali web UI, where I can quickly go ahead and verify what's happening within the application, and especially while learning the Istio, after making the changes, we can visually see what's happening within the application. So what we have done, we created the sample application and we customized the virtual services specific to the service to route the traffic to any specific version or only a percentage of the traffic to that specific version. This we will be using it within the Canary deployment, where I'm going to have a new version of the application. What I will do, I will deploy the version and I will route only a percentage of the traffic, say 10% of the traffic to that particular version, and I will test it out whether the behavior is good, and if there are no bugs, then I will shift all the traffic to that particular version and remove the older version. So without impacting the user, I should be in a position to deploy new versions into the cluster. So this is a quick demonstration on how to do the traffic shifting using Istio.